Jesse's going to start us off when everyone's ready.
Yeah, first I'll go with injuries. An update on Rodri. It's when it pops out, it's about as good a case scenario as possible. So that means that it doesn't need surgery, and that hopefully in 3 to 4 weeks it can calm down. Maybe it takes a little bit longer. Maybe it's a little bit shorter. We will see. He feels good. He feels confident that he will be ready fairly soon. So, we're kind of targeting after the international break. And then everyone else is in training, except for Stuart Dallas. So Junior Firpo, Luke Ayling, Liam Cooper, Patrick Bamford, all back. So some decisions on exactly which guys are ready to go for the weekend, but they're all in training, looking healthy, looking strong, and ready to go. So that's a really good sign. The only other thing I'm going to give you as probably a disappointing update is I'm not really ready to comment at all on transfers just because I haven't spoken to Victor. We got off the training pitch, and I know that there's a lot going on over at Ellen Road, but I haven't heard exactly what yet. So, yeah, sorry about that. Let's talk about Brentford.
So, can I just ask you how you see today playing out? Will you, once this press conference is finished, speak to Victor, and how do you see the rest of the day playing out? Will you be satisfied if you can get one player in?
Yeah, I think, again, he's active. I know we spoke when the day started, there was different discussions about strikers, but not sure how it will play out, and haven't had an update yet.
And players moving out, there's a lot of talk about Dan James at the moment. Would his departure be dependent on a player coming in?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I don't want to comment about Dan's situation either right now.
Let's talk about the game then.
Good.
Brentford, happy memories for you, and can you tap into that going into the game this weekend? That sort of
obviously we have good memories of playing down there last year. The situation is completely different now. I think Brentford's had a great start. I think they had a great season last year. I think it's a team that's very clear with the way they play football. And certainly when you talk about Brentford, you have to talk about set-piece situations and how effective and creative they are in those moments. So that was what the preparation solely today was about, looking at Brentford from what they do with set pieces and what we need to be good at on the day. And I think in all ways we'll be expecting a tough match. Again, you see there are some similarities between games that we've played so far, and then there are a lot of things that are different. And so for us, I think it's really important that we understand exactly what we think the opponent's going to present, and then play to the way that we want the game to look, and try to see if we can pull that out of each moment. I thought we'll show tomorrow more Everton moments and how it applies to what we think will be important for Brentford. But again, I thought that when I went back and watched it again, especially the second half, but I think there were a lot of really good moments in the first half where we played quite well. We were in command of the game, and if we can be a little bit sharper with some things, I think we can walk away with a win and feeling really good about that match.
Patrick Bamford, will he be ready to start the game? And just talk about the impact he can have, because he did make a difference when he came on.
Yeah. Well, at first I think, yes, that he can. We'll have to make a decision. We could start with both Joffy and Patrick. It's something we're speaking about as well. I thought Joffy played well, and I thought Patrick played well when he came on. So, I thought Luis Sinisterra had a good match for 64 minutes. So, we have some more options, which is a nice thing to have. Yep.
Without going into specifics, transfer window, will you be glad when today's done?
Yes, that much I can definitely say. Yeah, you always have these transfer deadlines, and then trying to figure out how to manage them. Victor and Andre have worked so hard in the last 3 weeks. So I think probably they could answer that question more affirmatively, even more so. But we like our team. We like our team. We think we've done a good job in this window. Let's see what happens.
So if it gets to 11 o'clock and there's no movement in, no movement out, you're quite happy with that?
I like our team, period, yeah. And obviously we're trying, the whole time we've been trying to figure out ways to strengthen, but we feel really good about the group, really good. And that was the thing I said to them today in our meeting, was we have a really strong team.
Is the only frustration that having done so much business early doors that it comes down to the 11th hour? It seems to happen at all clubs.
Yeah, I think that's almost always the case, and things pop up in the 11th hour that weren't there a month ago, 2 months ago. So, yeah, let's see.
Going down to Brentford, what's your abiding memory of your last visit there? What will be the thing that stays with you after that?
Yeah, I mean, celebrating with the fans after the match, celebrating with the team in the locker room. You know, I joked with so many of my American friends where in the U.S. it's all about finishing first. That's all that anyone cares about. I told them that 17th can sometimes feel like first as well. But now is a new season, a new moment, a new opportunity for us against a good team. So, and we won't expect, not that, I don't think they had a bad performance on that day, but clearly their season was over. And even after the game, all their families were together and they walked around as a family. It was back in the Premier League, finishing their first season, staying in the league was a big moment for them too. I think, they weren't totally focused on exactly what the game required, whereas this time they certainly will be.
Some of the same personnel, but ultimately, is it chalk and cheese, this fixture to the one last season?
Yeah, and I think Thomas Frank has done an incredible job with his team. They have such continuity, I think such clarity. I love set pieces, so a lot of times I watch what they do and think about things that I can steal from them. And then I think even the variability they have in the way they play makes it a difficult opponent to prepare for. Really good talent on the pitch. A good club that's done a good job of managing, moving up the ranks, and now being a top Premier League team as well. So, yeah, it'll be a big challenge.
Last one from me. You mentioned the players who've come back into training. Are any of them, or are all of them, in a position to actually start on Saturday?
I'd say Liam Cooper is probably the closest to being ready to start. And the others, I think, would more be considering would we have them on the bench or not. Yep.
Jesse, just overall, when you wake up tomorrow morning and finally the transfer window is done, you can focus on the football again.
Yeah.
How will you reflect on it overall from a Leeds perspective, would you say?
I mean, in general, I'm a contributor to what we do from a sporting side with a lot of decisions we make, but I'm always laser focused on what's going on with the personnel that we have in the team and how to help our team develop and grow every day. So it just means my phone will be ringing a little bit less, which I will appreciate. But we've done a good job of not letting any of the noise bother us, right? And I think stay really, really concentrated on what's valuable for us from game to game.
Angus Kinnear was pretty straightforward in his opinion on Jack Harrison and any outgoing potentially of the other evening. He's obviously a massively important part of your squad.
Yeah. Yes, Jack has been great. From day one, I think he's one of the players that's adapted the best to what we're trying to do now with the team. I think he's having an excellent start to the season. And so, and he's happy here. So I haven't even discussed anything with Jack about anything with transfers because it's for us a non-negotiable situation. So. I think Jack has even a lot of room for improvement and will continue to do so.
With the players signed and with the way that the team are playing this season, have started off this season, how close is this Leeds United to the Leeds United you envisaged it being when you took over?
We're still a long way away, right? A long way away from being the exact team that I believe we can become. And I think, again, the plan, we've obviously had a good start. And what I said even to the team today, if you take the 12 weeks from when I came before the match against Leicester to the game against Brentford, we didn't make that much progress in that time. And part of the reason was the stress of the situation. Versus if you take, it hasn't even been 12 weeks since the start of the first day of preseason until now, we've made leaps and bounds. And I said, now the goal is for us over the next 12 weeks to match that kind of development and to continue to build on that week after week and period after period. And it will take a few transfer windows. It will take time to move things forward. But at the same time, I'm very I'm very, very excited about the possibilities of what we can do here. And it's because of the club, the people, the players, and I think the commitment to excellence here from a work perspective is better than anywhere I've been. So it gives us a chance. It gives us a real chance to continue to grow and get better.
I have to say, one of my favourite things to watch so far this season has been yourself on the touchline. You never kind of sit down, you're always kind of very, very into it, living every moment, kicking every ball. Just wonder what it's like for you on the touchline when you see the passion that's emanating from the team right now.
I said to the team actually after we played Brighton, that there was a moment where Brighton had made a couple decisions on the pitch and they did some things, and then I was trying to explain to us that we can continue to work on our understanding of what we want exactly out of the game and how to make the right kinds of decisions. And I showed that I was up and Graham Potter was not. And I said, listen, we have different styles, but the goal for me is always to sit down and allow the team to carry out exactly the plan, because they're so clear on exactly what we are, and we're working toward that. But we're not there yet. So too often, some of my emotion that you see is toward referees sometimes. I do feel that in the last two performances we can get a little bit better performance, but I understand that they're humans and it's not always, they have bad performances sometimes too. We have a lot of referees that retired last year. We went through this in the managerial meeting. We have a lot of new referees that haven't had as many Premier League games, and it will take time for them to adapt to the level, and I understand that, and I have empathy for that, really, I do. I may not show it always, but I do. I thought I was actually calm for the most part last game and tried to stay calm, and I tried to do that the best I can.
Just finally from me, obviously Brentford in the second season in the Premier League, which is sometimes quite difficult for sides to come back and to repeat what they managed to achieve the season before. How well do you think Thomas Franks has done so early on in terms of just keeping his Brentford side nice and level-headed?
It's hard for me. I look at them from a scouting perspective, and I see the angles from how they play, and I can analyze the intelligence at which they play on the pitch more than I could talk to you about what's the energy inside the team, other than what you read a little bit the week leading up to when you play them, to try to capture the mentality where your opponent is at that moment. However, from watching him from afar, I think he has a really good demeanor. He seems to have really good rapport with his players. From watching his team tactically, I can tell there's a lot of intelligence and variability to what they do. I already said set pieces, I think they are one of the best in the world. So he has a way. And that's what I always like about when a manager has a way. I find that interesting, and there's things that can be learned from what they do. So, and then again, for us, it's not the easiest opponent to prepare for because of all the different types of things you have to understand. By the way, including long throw-ins, which you could also say they're incredible at. So will be a big challenge for us.
Thanks, Jesse.
Yep.
Let's look this way again.
Victor Orr is a fairly unique character on match days in particular. How have you found him as a person to work with?
Yeah, I think we operate on the same frequency, really. There's very few conversations that we have. Sometimes I don't understand. The only thing is understanding his English sometimes, but I understand more his mannerisms and his energy, even when I don't understand his English. But we have a great relationship, really, and he comes every day with passion, and he listens. He's actually, as much as he comes with energy, he's also a good listener. And so when it comes for us to have really important discussions, I think we can really quickly get to the core of what we want, which is effective. And then also, I think you have to include Angus and his ability to work closely with us and get the balance right of being a real calm presence, a level head, and logically think about solutions in addition to the emotion and the passion that he and I have. So, I think it's I'm really, Victor is the reason I'm here more than anything, really. And we continue to, I think, work really, really well together and have a lot of fun in the process.
How much do you communicate with the squad about recruitment as
I'm pretty open with him. It's a good question, Graham. I'm pretty open with him. I explained to him today about where kind of some of the situation was. That's the way I am even with you guys a lot. Not today, but normally. Because I don't like having secrets in the team. I like everybody to feel secure with what we're doing, with how it pertains to their role and their responsibilities. And I find that if you invest in people that way and show trust and responsibility, that you get it in return. So it's a respect thing, but it's also about what relationships are about. So yeah. And I want them, to also understand the why behind some decisions.
Jesse, how would you describe the last 24 hours or so in the window and how it's gone, and how satisfied are you with the targets that may or may not be coming your way?
Yeah, I mean, it's, I'm satisfied, okay? It hasn't been easy. It's required a lot of conversations with agents, players, sport directors, people. But that's important. I think in the end, when you make decisions, you want them to be made when everybody has all the information and understands exactly what we're trying to achieve, and you have to start off on the right foot when you're bringing in new people and make sure that there's real clarity as to expectations and processes. So yeah, let's see. There'll be some difficult decisions even at the end to be made, and we'll have to figure out how to make the right ones.
Is this where good planning comes into play, when it's at the last minute and a lot of quick decisions need to be made? You need to move quickly to maybe alternative.
Well, what I think in general is the reason we acted so quickly from the beginning was because we didn't want to be stuck in massive situations at the end, where then we had to rely on a lot of other things. And then, when a couple of our targets didn't come through the way we wanted, then we had to kind of, think about how to manage the market in a way that fit with our budget and what we foresee is necessary within the team. I also think that getting the season started and seeing exactly where we were at was going to be important to figure out what we needed. There's a number of scenarios that I think have panned out to be more positive than even we had hoped, and it has allowed us to be a little bit more patient. So let's see what happens here in the next few hours.
Thank you.
Yep.
Well, with everybody back or thereabouts, who do you consider to be your best pairing in the middle of your defence? Before the season started, who would you have envisaged then?
Well, I think in general, Liam is an incredibly important person in this team. And I think he brings a lot to us at all moments, and certainly when he's on the field. So I think even coming off of last year, looking at it was a bit of Liam and Diego and what they had accomplished. Robin has emerged as an incredible player and maybe our best player in our first 5 games. I think he's now really inserted himself into the future in a really good way. And then I also think Pascal in this left back, quasi left center back, 3 build-up, sometimes 4 build-up, has also been fantastic, much better than we had hoped. So all 4 of those guys I think are going to play a big role. And then, I think there's competition now in the squad, right? But in a really healthy, competitive way. I think guys understand that first they have to be fit and they have to be sharp, and that the team is getting better, and that in order to stay on the pitch, that you have to be ready to perform in training. I've talked to a lot of guys that I watch training every day. I run training every day, and the main reason is because I want to make sure that we're getting the most out of every single guy at every moment. So yeah, I would say, to answer your short, it looked like Diego and Coops, but Robin hasn't emerged and Pascal's playing great.
Thanks.
Yep.
Stuart?
Jesse, to what extent does just Victor's role, your trust in Victor and your own personality, has that allowed you to just focus on Brentford this year?
Yeah. Well, I do trust Victor explicitly. And Andre has been a great partner as well. It's just been, at all moments, we've kind of been like, okay, I always think with recruitment that if you feel like you need to strengthen in a certain position, that you have option A, option B, option C. right? And in there you have, and then maybe that's for salary structure 1 or transfer structure 1. And then you maybe have transfer structure 2 in that same position, A, B, and C. And, and so when we go through it, it's not just picking names out of the air, but, and if you know Victor, him and his scouting team have this down to a science almost. And then, even one of the first meetings I had when I was here at Thorpe Arch was with the whole scouting department, and then taking them through from a style of play perspective exactly what we're looking for in each position and what are the qualities and mentalities, and I think that they've tried to carry that out to their best, the best of their ability. So, yeah, this is an important part of any club, maybe the most important part, right?
Yeah, because we can see from the CVs of the players who've signed so far that you've clearly had a big influence. But are you sort of at a stage at this point of the window where you're reasonably confident to just sort of leave Victor to it, or are you?
Well, he again. I think we have a strategy in place that's A, B, and C, and he's trying to put that, enact that transfer strategy. It's been a lot for him. It's been a lot. He was in Holland last night, and he's been moving around. So he's trying everything he can to create the right kind of relationships and seal some things that would help us. So let's see how it goes.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Hi Jesse. You mentioned in midweek about Bamford and Gellart possibly starting together.
Yeah.
You've obviously given it some deep thought. Can you just say how that would work in terms of team formation?
Yeah. Well, it would. Joffe has played mostly striker here, but if you would have talked to him, he's in some ways more comfortable coming away from defenders and being more underneath than being on the last line. And one of his strengths is his cleverness and ability to move and the flexibility to move within both positions. So in that sense, I think if he played with 2 strikers and Patrick drifts a little bit more on the last line and he drifts a little bit more underneath but is ready for some later runs and Patrick's ready at the right time to come underneath, that we can create some tactical clarity and ease for them to play together. And I think there will be times that we do that. In there is also the factor that I think we're getting a lot out of Jack Harrison and Brendan Aronson right now. And then I think Luis Sinisterra is going to continue to emerge as a big player for us. Right? And then we have Dan James, we have Cree, we have Clicky, we have other options in there as well, and obviously now that Rodri can also has this flexibility to play a striker or a 10 as well. So I like that about all of them, and it gives us some flexibility to be intelligent how we can use them, and then it's just about educating them more and more about how to play with each other and what their roles are.
Have they been impressive paired together?
They well, first of all, they have a really good relationship. Patrick's, I think, really taken Joffe under his wing and tried to help mentor him in a way to help him grow into being a really good striker, which obviously as the leader, I love seeing that, and I think Joffe loves it as too. So at one point when Patrick was hurt last year, and I think before the Brentford game even, Patrick sent Joffe, remember Patrick had COVID, and he sent Joffe like a to-do list almost of like things that he should be thinking about in the match, and he sent it to me and goes, do you think it's okay if I send this to Joffe? I said, perfect, do it, great. So that's what I want. I want to leave room for leadership, and I want these guys to feel like they have a big role in helping develop the team.
Okay, we'll move on to the nationals under embargo, please. So we'll start with Dave.